Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about metabolic health. What does it mean to have metabolic health? So there are different metrics or different things that will allow a healthcare provider know if, their patient who's coming into the office for a checkup, if that patient is metabolically healthy versus not metabolically healthy. Okay, so I'm gonna delve right in, and there are five things to take a look at, five criterias really. The first thing I'd like to talk about is your fasting blood glucose. So a lot of people feel like if they've never been diagnosed as having diabetes, then you really don't need to be concerned about your glucose level. This could be the furthest thing from the truth. Just because you have not been diagnosed as having diabetes does not mean that you do not have diabetes. You may not even know that you have diabetes. So it is really, really important to know what your fasting blood glucose is, because that number can give a lot of information, okay? So typically, the normal range for a fasting blood glucose is between 70 to 100. And fasting really just means like a period in which you're not eating. So like when you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning and you go to the lab to get your blood checked without eating anything, you can drink water, that's gonna be considered a fasting blood test. And so your fasting blood glucose will be a lab test that is done where you haven't eaten, let's say, for about 8 to 12 hours, okay? So the normal range, again, is from 70 to 100. If you start creeping up higher than 100, you may see that your healthcare provider will start educating you and telling you, hopefully they're telling you, hey, your fasting blood glucose is a bit elevated, and giving you some guidance on how you can go about getting that to come back down to the normal range. That can be an indicator too of slightly developing some insulin resistance if your fasting blood glucose is higher than 100, because if you're not eating anything while you're sleeping for 8 hours, how come your sugar levels are above 100? So that can be a key concern that may trigger your healthcare provider to start talking to you about pre-diabetes or screening you for pre-diabetes. The other marker to look at is your triglycerides, also known as fat, right? Fat levels in the blood. Triglycerides levels should be lower than 150. You don't want to go above 150. If it's higher than 150, really this can be concerning, because it can indicate that maybe your arteries could potentially be getting clogged with plaque buildup. And this is definitely a risk factor for heart attack, for a stroke. So triglycerides, really other important factor to be aware of. The other thing is your HDL, high density lipoproteins. It's also known as the good cholesterol. So for females, the HDL should be higher than 50. For males, 40. Okay, so it's really important to also know what that value is. The fourth thing to be aware of definitely is going to be your blood pressure. Okay, normally the normal range, if your blood pressure is below 120 over 85, this is a good place to be with your blood pressure. And then also the fifth thing to be aware of is definitely your waist circumference. What's the inch of your waist? For females, it's good to be 35 or below. For males, it's typically around like 40. You'll notice that a lot of times when you start getting visceral fat, which is that fat around the waist area, this can be a hallmark of one of the signs of, you're having some metabolic concerns, because that fat will definitely accumulate around your waistline. So what does this mean? What do all of these markers mean these numbers. You're considered to not be in metabolic health if these numbers are significantly elevated, okay? So, really important. If all of this sounds foreign to you and it sounds like, wait, I don't even know what this means. I don't know if I am metabolically healthy. I don't know what my fasting glucose is. If you have a primary care provider, I would highly encourage you to make an appointment to go get blood work done and let your provider know, listen, I want to see if I am metabolically healthy. I want to get my labs checked, my fasting blood glucose, my triglycerides. I want to know what my HDL is, your blood pressure, okay? These are all really, really important things. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean that something could not be going on with your labs and you wouldn't know just because you didn't get it checked. So knowing is empowering because then you can make changes to improve your health. So I hope that you found this video to be helpful. And I hope that if you do not know if you're metabolically healthy or not, go to your primary care provider, set an appointment, and get your labs checked. This information can only benefit you, okay? So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.